Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 28 of the Stock Talk with Josh and Nico. So, once again, I'm your host, Josh Boji. Joins me today by my co-host, Nico.
Criticos.
Nico, how you doing today?
Pretty good. I'm happy because it's my birthday, but I'm sad because I'm sick. So somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Oh my God, we gotta all sing happy birthday to you. Say
Oh, no, please, no.
birthday
Please no.
to you. Happy
Okay.
birthday.
That's good.
Okay. Well, happy birthday, Nico. How old are you, turn?
Today I'm 23.
33.
The age of Michael Jordan.
Okay, and LeBron James. Don't forget
but mostly Michael Jordan.
And Anthony Davis and a lot of other people that wore the number 23 as well. But today for episode 28, Nico, we are joined today by our guest and friend of the show. Friend of the show, can you introduce yourself to the audience?
I'm Austin.
Austin, how you doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. So, Austin, this is our first time meeting you.
It is.
Yeah, so we kind of want to know a little bit more backstory of
But it
who
feels
you
like
are.
we've known each other for a long time, does it not?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
I
a
feel
reunion.
yeah, it kind of feel
waiting.
like we maybe in another life maybe.
Yeah.
We knew each other like best friends. But besides that, Austin, can you let the people know a little bit more about yourself before we start getting started?
What do you want to know, man?
What actually got you into the stock market? Let's just say that.
Just kind of general interest, I guess. I mean, you see it a lot. It's the narrative of invest your money, and I guess really when I started to understand what inflation was, and I didn't enjoy it, I don't like my money becoming worth less than what it was simply for sitting. I started to take a little more of an interest in it, but it was more of trading that got me into it than anything else.
Okay, and do you still trade as well?
Not as much as I would like, but still some.
Okay, what was like one company that you traded was probably the most successful for you?
Ooh. Cassava Sciences from $1.90 to $137 a share.
What?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I've heard of that company. What's it called?
Sava, S-A-V-A.
I've
Really
heard of it.
remarkable, to be honest. It's getting beaten to death with everything else. But essentially, they could be first to market for any kind of treatment for Alzheimer's, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry and has absolutely nothing. Right? So, like, if they did break through, it's immediately $200 stock. Immediately. It's just a matter of if and when, so it's all speculative.
Right.
So, well, we probably what you did in the past, but what are you doing today now, like on your daily basis of life?
Just working, man. Trying to keep it all going and run a couple of businesses in different spaces. One in finance, stocks, in that area. One in healthcare, addiction treatment, and then the other in digital marketing. So just kind of the day-to-day management, I guess.
Yeah, so I also see here you gave us a TikTok. So me personally, I'm not a TikToker, but Nico is a huge TikToker.
I love TikTok.
He
Oh,
loves
yeah.
it. I'm kind of like the old man. I'm not going to download this app. But you have a TikTok, and it's called @stocks.official. Can you let the people know a little bit more what kind of videos and things you post on there?
It's changed lately. So I used to just only do, stock screeners, stuff like that. Just like the whole idea is, right, just put information that's valuable that'll actually help you in some way. You find a little bit of comedy, a little bit of stock stuff. It's all pretty good information. I mean, the goal is for it always to be of value. So if you go there and you're looking for just quick, actionable information on stocks, either watch, trade, what have you, you'll find it.
And how long have you been doing that? Were you kind of like early on with the TikTok? Or did you just
I got into it like a year ago.
Okay.
It's cool, but it's also the worst. It's just a terrible algorithm, man. Like
I like it.
It's brutal.
It's good.
It's so brutal.
It helps people grow if they don't have a lot of followers.
Best platform you can ever be on in terms
Yeah.
of like free organic growth, and you got maybe 6 months left before it turns over.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And they pushed ads like everyone else did.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So ads. So do you like pay for ads or anything, or?
I'm a big organic guy. I'm
Okay.
a big believer in just organic reach. I love it. I mean, you do the right by the people, they're going to push what you need them to push and incentivize them to do it. So I try to do that as much as possible because I don't want my entirety of my business health to be dependent upon the ad spend, which is good. I think I look at ads as a supplementary thing, right? It's like the business is doing well, you put ads on top of what's doing well to build.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I treat it, at least.
Nice.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so while we have actually two TikTokers here with me, I want to say, like, say if I have anything, like maybe I want to, start a business like on TikTok, videos around, I don't know, how to tie a tie or anything.
Mm-hmm.
What's some like early stuff you can like give any advice to someone who's just starting on how to navigate TikTok?
Just post every day, man.
Yeah.
And talk like that's the whole thing is like with streaming. What I've had to learn the hard way is like Like right now, I'm talking to you, right?
Yeah.
People preach. Don't get on a soapbox. Like you're not. This isn't the congregation waiting to hear the good word. You know what I mean? Like just talk to one-on-one. That's like one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard in terms of like streaming, create video content. It's just engage in a one-on-one relationship with who's watching your video. Make it intimate, make it vulnerable, like make it understandable, relatable, and then people are going to watch it because they know it's genuine, it's truthful, it's authentic. And if you have that, then I think that you're in a good position to like really reach people, especially in the audience you want.
I think me and Nico also do this with the podcast. You know, we try to so like when Austin first came here, I told you, we try to keep this as a conversation.
Yeah.
Like try to make it as comfortable as for anyone that's as a guest, even for me and Nico as the host. So I think it's kind of a good advice too. But besides that, let's keep on going. Nico, I want to ask you, how's the past week been going through? I heard you kind of got options into a company. What company is that?
Options for the options I bought were for put options on Cleveland Cliffs, and my main strategy going into this was that Cleveland Cliffs for the past 5 years has traded around $7, $8, $9 a share for years on end. And now that a lot of commodities are inflated, steel is through the roof, and so now this stock is over $30 a share. And it was just I think a little bit over a year ago, it was trading as low as like $15 or $17. So I think it's going to come down in the next couple months, and I think my put option expires for July 15th, I believe. So yeah, I think this is it's gonna go from $30 to somewhere around 19 or 20.
Oh, is that going to be your next Tesla? I don't know.
It might be.
That's a
Hopefully
bold
so.
prediction. Down to what you said now?
19.
Woo!
I don't think
We
it'll
do
be
a lot
hard.
of predictions here.
I don't think it'll be hard because it traded at $7 to
That's
$9
bold.
for years.
No, I agree with you.
And the
Honestly,
other
it's
thing too
bold.
is with stocks like that where it's based off of a commodity like that, the commodities fluctuate so much. Like it happens really fast where you have a small phase where it's flying high and it's hot, and then bam, it drops and things flip quick. So that's why I don't think it's going to last too long at this $30 range.
And explain real quick for the audience what exactly Cleveland Cliffs.
Cleveland Cliffs is one of the biggest steel producers, and they recently bought out ArcelorMittal, which has a facility right down the street from us in East Chicago. And so Cleveland Cliffs is a huge, they're worth tens of billions of dollars. So,
And I might be wrong, but isn't it still around the summertime trade at the most highest too, kind of?
I don't know about that. If you look at the 5-year chart, it pretty much flatlined for a couple years, and then the past 2 years or so, it spiked up. It more than 4x'd. So,
yeah.
You're
right. I mean, I agree with the opinion that it's coming down. Okay, 100%. Bearish engulfing. Look at that. That's the weekly.
Yeah.
That looks devastating.
And I pretty much bought it right before that decline. I bought my puts at
That is
$32
not
a share.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I would be well, you'll make money on those puts no matter what, as long as you don't get burned on the.
And the other thing too is it's very hard to find stocks in the market right now that have been doing successful, and that is one of the only ones because there's the pretty much the only companies that are doing good were the Apple, the Google, the Microsoft. Those are holding up.
the behemoths.
Those are holding up decently, but everything else is pretty much the tech stocks are down. The majority of stocks are down. So oil and stuff like the oil stocks and some of these steel stocks, those are some of the only ones that haven't fallen yet. So I think the money's going to reverse at some point, and yeah.
Yeah, hopefully these stocks go up a little bit more because I think Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is going back up to where it was maybe 6 months ago-ish.
Yeah.
So that's what I need because I've been down bad to the stock market, Nico. Down bad.
I know. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so hopefully that works well out for you, but everything else for me has been bad. Austin, how about you? You got any companies that's been horrible for you?
The Cassava Science one, that was rough to watch because I didn't sell all of it. I sold about a third, but to watch it fall from grace, $140 down
Well,
to
what percent gain was it though?
Oh, a couple thousand.
Okay,
I made like
so-
50 grand. It was good stuff.
Okay, well that's a lot. That's
But he could have
plenty.
made more if you think.
Yeah,
It's not about the making more. It's just the brutality of watching it, the fall from grace.
I mean, yeah, that's why if you do it in pieces, you got to just
Yeah.
be grateful for the
Exactly.
the
But
profit
seeing
you
the
take.
red kills you.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But how you said you also you're not going to regret it if you hold if let's say you hold a third of it and then it goes back
Yeah.
up to 200 or something, or they have that breakthrough. You won't regret it then.
I think it's all about determining what your like time horizon is,
Yeah.
and everything's relative to that. Because like my strategy's changed quite a bit. Like I used to be active daily trading all day, every day. I would trade all day, every day. And it's a different game then. It's like I just want to come up. I just want to come out green on the week. It was like always on a weekly basis. Bad day, don't care. Good day, don't care. How'd the week shake out? Now it's more of I look at it on I guess more quarterly. I guess than anything else is because like I'm trying to think 5 to 10 year time horizon, especially with crypto. Like that's where I've moved a lot of my assets to. This challenge actually I did. You'd actually probably be interested in 5K to 130K crypto only.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, I don't know. Crypto blows my mind every day. The more I learn about it and the more I see it just being leveraged in different elements of business, it's astounding to see what those markets are capable of.
Well, are you more bullish on Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Both.
Both.
Yeah, they'll both like Ethereum will be at 10K. Now I can't tell you when because no one knows. Anybody who says is ignorant or speculating beyond their measure, but it will. Especially with Ethereum 2.0 rollout. Like, but again, when? Who? No,
It could take years.
Man.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. But at the end of the day, it's just a matter of like I said, like what's your time horizon? With crypto, it's like I'm parking that money there, and I know damn well that that's going to beat any of your like run of the mill, any of the indices. It's going to beat that. Like it's hopefully going to beat the real estate market more than likely. Now there are different avenues within the real estate market that are beneficial when you look at like depreciation. How you can leverage them to get more debt, blah blah blah. But if you look at it purely from like return on investment standpoint, I think it's going to beat it out. And I have a lot of faith in it, and the community behind it is what's really sold me on it.
Do you know is there like ETFs you can buy for crypto?
They're coming. I mean, there's the was it Grayscale Bitcoin Trust?
Yeah.
Like, similar, right? And they're, I guess, pegged to Bitcoin almost in a sense, which is like unironically pegged to the, not literally, but it's essentially pegged to the dollar. I mean, that's the weird thing with crypto is like it used to be counter to the markets, right? So like markets die, crypto runs, and it's like what you've seen actually now is like a symbiosis that's quite odd, and I don't enjoy it.
Well, see, I thought about that recently. I keep going through my head saying, okay, are there for these markets, whether you're talking about stocks, crypto, real estate, are they core like they'll say crypto is a hedge to stocks, but if one asset is doing really well, then that means people are going to be making money, and that means that you would think other assets like Bitcoin or other crypto would also be doing well. But what's it called? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Are they inversely related or are they directly related? Because
what happens when they've all done well?
I know.
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
That's scary.
It is scary.
That's scary. And I mean, you look at the rate of inflation, like real cost inflation, they say 7%. It's more like, in my opinion, 21%.
Why do you say
give
that?
or take? Your dollar is worth about 20% less than it used to.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, for some things, for like inflation, for oil, for gas, and for buying cars and houses and stuff, yes, but not for everything, no. But I mean, those are two giant.
If you look at like
industries,
just price increases like across the board in everything, think about it. Everything is more expensive, and it's about 20%, 15-20%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like on the whole.
Some things haven't gone up. Like food hasn't gone up that much.
Food has definitely gone up.
Food has definitely
gone up.
It's gone up.
This guy must not be shopping.
Food has definitely
I don't know
gone
if
up.
it's that much more expensive. I think it's like maybe
gone up, man.
5 to 10%.
Absolutely.
Food
So
has gone up,
commodity pricing is destroy. I mean, that's the rough part. Is like these companies can't make up for demand. Like, so I guess the conversation really like that I think is worth having, like in terms like because you're a long-term investor, right?
Yeah.
You stick with that. It's like how do you find value, and how do you find value that doesn't contend with labor shortage?
Yeah.
So like we can get to that. Aldi. That's one of my.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my. I think that one's going to perform quite well.
Aldi.
Yeah,
but Aldi's not public.
No, I'm saying companies like Aldi, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you find companies like Aldi. Think about it. It's consumer defensive in a sense that like it's a budget spending place.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You ever been in an Aldi?
Yeah, I was there yesterday.
They're not swarmed with employees, are they?
Not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
So like, are they going to really truly suffer from a labor shortage? Not
No,
likely.
probably not.
Versus like your Walmarts, right? They're reliant on hundreds of employees per store.
Yeah.
What happens then?
But I don't think but the unemployment is not a problem right now though.
No, people don't want to work for people. Don't cuss.
I know.
People don't want to work for terrible wage. You know what I mean? So like, you need to find consumer defensive companies that are not going to have to deal with I need 50 employees to work for this shitty wage.
I agree with that, but at the same time, then unemployment is at like record lows right now. It's pretty
Well, it's
much
not an unemployment issue. It's that they're having to come to Jesus moment. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to work this terrible job that I hate and when I want to die every day for these wages that aren't worth having.
Yeah, but that's why the minimum wage is almost doubled at most of these places now.
Yet they still can't staff them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Even at 15 or 20 an hour, a lot of them are still struggling.
Interesting. Because there's so many ways, like, what has been born out of this, like, excites me truly. Like, COVID was, terrible, and, like, people lost their lives, and I don't think we should ever look past that. It's a terrible thing, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I think it was in 2020, don't quote me, so we might have to fact check this, but I believe more single-member LLCs were, like, solo entrepreneurs, made $100,000 a year, made six figures a year than ever before.
Oh.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, if you can leverage a digitally scaling business, like, you could do anything now. Like, all of my businesses are that way. All of them, right? Built off of nothing, $0. And that's become kind of like its own little, like, fetishized thing of, like, I just love doing it. Like, it's a challenge. It's hard. Like, I want to do it with nothing to something. I don't want to spend money until I already have it, right? But, I mean, people have realized the opportunity and like, I mean, you've seen a rise of the influencer, which is, like, kind of sucks, right? It's kind of terrible. It makes you not trust things. And, like, people are shipping garbage products now. Like, it's everywhere. Like, all of Amazon is just, it's literally people buying from Alibaba who understand SEO and metadata, rewriting a listing, and selling you the same garbage at a 15 times markup. That's not business. You're a leech. And you're destroying society, right? Those people suck, and they need to go elsewhere, not here.
But that's like what's popular out there. That's what's taught out there, and that's what's easy. That's an easy entry to get into.
But does it offer anything to the world? No,
not really.
You're just a middleman who's upcharging people. You got to provide something, right?
So I mean, it's kind of like the pandemic pushed a lot of people away from working for other people and instead turned them into entrepreneurs.
Themselves. Yeah, right, which is cool, but then it also kind of like that's the whole thing is, gets into like, running a business and like running a good business and like ethical, which that's a whole different conversation. But I think it's opened the world up for opportunity that has never yet been seen, which is exciting. But I think it's also like are you considered Gen Z? Are you guys considered Gen Z?
We are.
You are?
Are we? Okay.
So your guys' generation, like most people won't admit this, but I have more hope and faith in you guys than pretty much any other generation. I sense a kindness, a softness, and it's common, not softness, like weak, like softness. And it's like, it's just different. You guys are just different. Like I think my oldest kid is Gen Z. Technically, he's like 10. He's 10. Whatever. He's close or right on the cutoff, but like it's just different. It's just different. You guys also grew up with this. Like so did I. I was like maybe 13 when the internet really became a thing, right? So like, but I had both. You guys literally had it in your hands since you were a little kid. Yeah. Which is like I think it's an extremely beneficial. It's like, and then a whole different thing with parenting. Like, do you let them sit in front of all the time? But like, it's just healthy boundaries, right? With anything. Like, you don't just eat all day, But anyway, so I think your generation can truly kind of finish what I believe people in my generation started, which is like a different way to look at this, the anti-boomer, if you will, right? Because like we had to enter the workforce into the straight up boomer environment, which was not pleasant, right? Like I've been fired from every job I've ever had until I had my own company.
Wow.
Literally every single one.
Wow. My
whole life until I was like 26. And I started my own businesses. I've almost fired myself a few times. But luckily I haven't lost my job yet. I don't know. I've just thought about firing myself a few times. Like, man, I should just hire a CEO and do it myself. But then I don't. But nevertheless, I mean, it's just a much less of a toxic culture around work. Like your work isn't everything. It's not who you are. It's like it's an extension of who you are, and it could be a product of who you are. Yeah. But like it asks that question, like that goes into religion, spirit, like who am I?
I think a lot of people it's almost like you're forced into having your job become a big part of your identity because you have to work so many hours per week to make enough money. So it's like if you're spending the majority of your week, the majority of your time at a job, then that's who you become.
Yeah, that's right? Your community. That's everything.
Yeah.
And look at these guys at Amazon. They're having to wear diapers. Like they just unionize. Yeah. You didn't hear about that?
No.
Yes,
they had to
New
wear
York,
diapers because they couldn't take breaks, man. Because Jeffy Boy was not allowing it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Jeffy was not allowing it, man.
Wow.
They just unionized. Though.
I
Yeah,
saw
but it
they
was
were
a big
trying to do
news,
that.
out in New York, the
Yep.
Amazon's out
And
there.
now they have like 50 different warehouses that have communicated with the original guys that unionized with ACLU, which is awesome.
That's good. Yeah.
But now, how do people react? Because guess what unionization means? It's not going to be as cheap.
What's not going to be as cheap?
Anything on Amazon.
Very true. Yeah.
Amazon's going to have to cut their margins, right?
Does that affect those employees' pay?
Yeah, they'll get paid more. They'll
They're
get
gonna
better
get paid
wage, more than likely. They'll get better wage. They'll get offered better. That's the idea, right? And now this goes into the whole thing. Like, as long as they have like a union representative that truly has their best interests at heart, right? So let's get into politics, all that shit. But let's just assume you have a great guy, great woman, whatever you want to call him, that's in charge of the union, that's representing the people and negotiates on their behalf. Ideally, better pay, better benefits packages, more reasonable time off, paid leave, stuff like that. Just human things that like everyone should have.
Right,
You shouldn't have to fight for. That's what makes us kind of sad. But here we are. But it will raise the cost of goods to Amazon. So now here's the whole thing. Either Amazon cuts their margins. You think Jeffy's going to do that?
Or he raises the consumers' prices. Yeah.
Raise the cost. So like those are also great businesses to invest in over the next 10 years of a raising interest rate climate.
I don't know. You think he'll raise the prices?
Come on. You think Jeffy's going to take a pay cut?
Amazon has very low margins. I think their their bottom line margin's like 3% or something.
So, what do they do?
I know.
That's the only option.
If they lose any more margin, they won't be profitable.
That's the only option, right? That's their only move, right? So that's what they're going to have to do.
Well, then that's not even that horrible, because then that also helps out people that are competing with Amazon. That helps out small businesses and stuff.
Exactly, which Amazon has slaughtered.
Yeah. So okay, good. Perfect.
Exactly.
It is.
It needs to happen.
It's a win-win situation if you think about it like that.
Hopefully.
Besides for Bezos. But he already has half the country's money, so that's fine. He doesn't need
Jeffy just wants to go to space.
And he's almost retired now too. He's not retired, but he's not doing as much work as he was.
God bless him and his wife.
That's good. I'm happy with the way that turns out then.
Yeah. But great conversation here for the Stock Talk with Josh and Nico. We're gonna take a quick break to make sure the lights and the bills, and we are back here for episode 28 of Stock Talk. So we were talking about a little bit about Amazon. Mr. Jeff Bezos. But Nico, what else do you want to talk about today?
Well, I would like to talk about Andrew and
Who the fuck's Andrew?
Or Austin.
Yeah.
And
this guy.
His thoughts on the economy right now.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Like I said, so we talked about the interest rates, like the real interest rate, my opinion, right? It's a lot more than the 7% they're letting you believe it is. So, like, that's why I mentioned crypto, right? So it's all about just finding assets that make sense, that will improve over the span of whatever your investment horizon is, which for me, like I said, 5 to 10 years. So in terms of the overall economy, I don't see a lot of strength. I don't see a lot of health. I think the labor shortage is indicative of where people's mindset is at.
Okay, see, now here's the thing I don't understand. If the people that don't want to work, how are they making money? How are they going to survive?
I don't know. It's a great question. Who knows? But like, look, so you're a good example, right? Well, you're still in school, so I guess not.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're not?
I graduated in December.
Okay, well, are you hustling to grab one of these jobs that are now paying $18 an hour? No.
Well, I know.
You got a couple businesses you're getting started on your own, independent of that business structure.
That's a good point, but I still am high. I applied to tons of positions the last couple of weeks.
What kind of jobs though?
Marketing jobs.
Now, marketing, that is one industry that is quite healthy right now.
Because I got my degree in marketing.
It's all digital, which we're going to have a little chat about that after this.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think so. Like, those industries are performing quite strong, in my opinion. I mean, because everything's online now. Brick and mortar is, in a sense, dead, and then it will be revived. I think it kind of is. There's like this weird hipster thing going on right now where people like almost want brick and mortar, even though it's a difficult.
It's not needed.
It's not needed.
What do you think that's going to look like? What would be the new brick and mortar locations?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's all going to be like gentrified areas. It's going to be, you're like, if you look at Illinois, you look at like Orland Park, right? I think that's going to maintain its strength and health because a lot of suburbanites that want to still shop in person. A lot of them have moved to online, but they still want the ability to shop in person.
Yeah, to see stuff in person.
Right, and I think you'll see a lot of strength in Munster, Highland, Cherville, all those areas. I think they're going to continue to remain what they are, at least in the nicer business centers.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of small-scale shops close down in the little strip malls.
Look at the mall in Maryville. That one's not doing good like the Orland Park Mall is.
No, it's not, and that's a whole nother thing. I don't know. I don't even know because then the mall gets sold, and there's like a shooting. I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with it too. It's like people just don't feel safe going there after there's a shooting. Like anytime there's major violence or crime.
But I think that stuff happens at Orland Park too.
Probably,
yeah,
probably. But just on the whole, I would say like median income's probably a bit higher, at least than Maryville.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a major difference.
And I think Orland does like a little bit job of like, I don't know.
It's
like
clean.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
Right.
It's all
Clean.
brick.
Yeah.
There's probably, yeah.
It's
cleaner over
It's
there.
just, it gives you the impression, right? It's like older, you see that in a lot of the, like, look at the north suburbs in Chicago. Like, a lot of those neighborhoods do really, really well. Why? It's like very well maintained. They're relatively clean for a city.
Yeah.
Right? And then you look at cities that have not done a great job. You look at San Francisco, Los Angeles. Especially with the homeless issue, right? Which is a whole different issue. It's like, if you don't ever provide infrastructure for these people, they're never going to leave. And they're never going to.
Los Angeles is really bad.
It's difficult.
I mean,
man.
all big cities really have that problem, though.
But you don't see it as much in some of the more upscale Chicago neighborhoods as you see in other cities, which I think that's quite interesting. And I don't really know the answer as to why that is. Maybe it's climate or whatever. Or we put ridges on all our benches, which terrible, but whatever. But overall economy, I don't see a lot of strength. Like everyone saying recession. You got B of A saying recession. You got Goldman saying recession. Jim Cramer saying recession. Then he's like bull market, then recession. Like within 15 minutes, he goes 5 different directions. And no one really knows. That's the thing. Is like so. There's people that have traded through wartime, right? There's people that have traded through. Maybe not pandemic, but Zika virus. They've traded through illness that spread that was scary. They've traded through
events that are just as bad.
Trade wars,
9/11.
But who has traded through war, pandemic, labor shortage, emotional and mental health crisis, humanitarian crisis? Like who's traded through all those at once? No one.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, anyone that says this is what it is, this is what's going to happen, is full of shit. You can bleep that out. That'll be a good one because I emphasized. But yeah, I think they're just full of shit because no one knows. Like, so we just have to speculate. Like Warren Buffett's people just released this little PR thing. They're like, be careful if you're doing speculative investing. From the guy that said Bitcoin is the scourge of the earth and then buys a bank that transacts in a ton of cryptocurrency. What a dick.
Because he probably feels safer in the banks. I don't think the crypto stuff's too new.
He likes a bank, right? But he finds a bank that has crypto exposure because the guy's smart. I mean, like him or not, obviously he's done something right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the world is crypto's being more quickly adopted too. Like if you look at like the Russian crisis, right? And they're just worried like, how do we freeze these assets, trap these assets? How do we get assets in and out? Like crypto's the only real answer there. And so like everyone's like rushing. I think it was Goldman. It was one of the major banks that was saying we see like, so Peter Thiel went to that conference, right? And he just shit on he shit on J.P. Morgan, he shit on Warren Buffett, like just calling them out for being hypocrites. You said you hated it, and now you're in it.
Yeah,
and
they do that a lot, though.
They do that a lot.
They did that with Tesla. That was the biggest one because I remember when I was buying the stock, they kept saying it over and over and over, and I was like, well, I sure hope I'm right.
It's overvalued if you think it's a car company because it's not.
Right, it's not.
It's a software and data company that happens to build cars, that happens to build solar, that happens to build
energy
power.
Company.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm saying their core business that has value, my opinion at least, is so look at electric vehicles, right? As they hit the roads more and more, like they're being adopted, right? And it makes more sense. Like we should evolve. That's where we should be if we can build it sustainably and say we can. Who has already mapped the world?
What do you mean?
Who's already mapped the world? Like everyone's going to want autonomous driving. That's going to be like a key feature and function of cars. Right, and who's already been doing it?
Tesla's the best one to do it.
It's Tesla and
They're
Google.
like the only ones.
Google's mapped it, but Tesla's mapped it from the perspective of a self-driving car.
Yeah.
So how valuable is that data?
Exactly. And no one's even close.
So valuable.
I think they have 20 times more data than Google. They have like 6 billion miles of data. Google only has a couple 100 million.
Yeah, they're sending like petabytes of data back and forth every time your car's I don't know that process well, but I'm saying every time your car's parked and charged or whatever the process is, they're shipping that data back, right? And so you look at all these other manufacturers, they start to build EV, like it's way cheap. It will be cheaper for them if they have the infrastructure to build cars to simply license and borrow and pay for the data rather than they're going to start from scratch. No, they're going to license the data. Genius.
I mean, I would like to. I mean, I hope that Tesla is they remain the main people in this industry. But you know how they always say, like, the person who starts that's the innovative one that starts out the process is never the one who actually wins at it. They say that a lot of times for different industries.
Amazon, innovative digital business.
They kind of
Google.
They did kind of were one of the first ones.
He had a dream, and he made like the impressive. He just wanted
That's
to catalog
true.
the internet.
So what about Apple? They revolutionized a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and they
became a payment processing company. It's genius.
Okay, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, dude, Steve, man, he built the lifestyle. Genius.
Yeah.
That guy was a genius, a literal genius. Without the Woz, though, he's nothing. You need that practical hand that can implement things and make them real. But I think as long as I don't see those companies going anywhere. I don't see Netflix going anywhere because of their production has been astounding. Like they have become a production giant, which is wonderful.
It's getting better. Yeah, and that's what really matters because you need your own stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Is like when you go to the the Oscars, whatever. And it's like Netflix.
Yeah.
They're getting all the big names, right? So like they became the content producer. Now they have the distribution. They're in. Apple, same thing. Amazon, like I think the race right now between like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Google is who can function as the main, who can basically buy out most market share in terms of streaming and digital distribution.
Yeah.
Because look at it, they're all fighting for the same people.
See, well, that's the big difference is where Netflix was 2 or 3 years ago, they had a much bigger market share than where it is now. It's so much more competitive now with all those big companies actually have streaming services available. So I think Netflix has it a lot tougher, and that's why they just said they're not growing as fast as they were, and that's why they have to raise prices.
I think eventually Amazon buys Netflix.
Really?
Eventually.
So?
It makes sense. It just makes sense. I could see a merger, an acquisition, something of that sort. And maybe it's not Amazon. Amazon makes the most sense, I think. Because then you can also, it would be smart because, why aren't they merchandising these Netflix things? If they're merchandising them, you already have Amazon's distribution and production.
Yeah.
To me, that makes the most sense.
I think Netflix might be too big.
They might be too big.
Big.
But nevertheless, I could see it happening. I could see something like that happening.
But you know that will also help them out because say if we do Netflix versus HBO, thinking of all the stuff that HBO has, like the catalog and the content they have, they probably will need a little bit more help, maybe from Amazon, which has James Bond, which is about the Paramount. Is it Paramount?
Yeah.
Paramount
all
Pictures.
that stuff. So maybe if that works out, but
I could see Amazon and HBO maybe a smaller company, but Netflix and Amazon, that would be such a huge.
Well, you got to think about this. HBO is really Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has just about everything.
Yeah.
Like DC, and they have a whole bunch of stuff. Like Warner Brothers and Disney are probably the two biggest companies, entertainment companies like that.
Yeah. So Disney, that's an interesting one. I think they've shown the most. They've just done a great job. I think the way that they've busted into streaming it's unbelievable. The acquisition of the Marvel series and Star Wars, that was brilliant business.
Right.
That was smart.
Yeah, because they've really never stopped innovating. They keep adapting.
Exactly. And you look at the price of Disney World, and again, don't quote me, fact check it, but I believe since the 70s it's gone up 1,800%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and their real cost has only gone down due to economies of scale. So it's do I agree with it? No, but from an investing standpoint, does it make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
I think. And as they grow and just continue to earn more, that's the thing is the name. Look at the name itself. You know it when you're born, whether you like it or not. It's a staple.
Yeah. Disney gets us as we're young, with all the different movies. And then when we get older, hey, I want to go to Disney World. Then go to Disney World. Then, I kind of like the Marvel and Star Wars stuff now, too. That's still Disney. So they kind of got a hold on you since, like you were saying, the day you were born. And when you keep growing up, as you age, as you're maybe you're thinking a little bit of content that you like, that grows a little bit more, Disney's still going to be there with you. So,
they kept my business because they got Jon Favreau to do The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Phenomenally produced show. It was great. It was one of the better limited series I've seen probably ever, in my opinion. I also really like sci-fi, so it's maybe I'm the target demo. But I'm saying nevertheless, I think they did a phenomenal job. It's so they he said, and I watch it with my kid. that's my point. Is like, look at how well they integrate the family into it, which is genius.
Right.
So I think they're going to continue to perform well. I think like that's a buy the dip kind of company that you just continue to acquire and just sit and wait.
Right.
All right, 3 top stocks. What are your favorite 3 to look at for the next year? For the next year or two, or at least one.
That's tough.
At least one. This company you just really like. Really gets you going.
Wow. Okay.
Gets you going in the morning. You wake up and you just go, oh yeah.
I'd have to really go through mine.
I think I got one real quick. Well, it's not really one, but
Go
I
ahead.
think all of like the traveling companies. I kind of want to see
Travel's
how
making a comeback.
Yeah, things like that. I think maybe with COVID,
Even
kind of
with the
slowing down a
pilot
little bit more.
strikes.
Yeah,
What? He just mentioned.
I'm gonna say
pilot
I could
strikes?
say okay. I would say Teladoc Health. I would say Block, and I would say maybe Shopify.
you love Shopify.
I'd say those are
Love
3 strong
Shopify.
ones, and they're all at cheap valuations now. So I think those are all innovative, all fast growing, and all at good valuations. Right now.
Teladoc. That's a winner right there. I've been in that just sitting and waiting since $50.
Yeah.
Saw it years ago and it came and it went right back down to where she started.
Yeah.
But again, a good buy nevertheless. Like their contracts with Optum are phenomenal. Whoever's the first in telehealth to adopt the Medicare, I think that's who's going to win.
They're partnered with Teladoc. I think they're partnered with Amazon, and I think they're partnered with Walmart too.
Yeah.
And they have the most customers than any other telehealth company. So, I mean,
the Livongo acquisition,
and
that
Livongo.
was everything.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Livongo they bought out a couple years ago for
Multi-billion-dollar
16 or
acquisition.
17 billion dollars. The whole company's trading less than that right now. It's trading at like a $12 billion valuation. So, I mean, I don't know.
That's
Just
a
think
no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer buy.
Well,
I
yeah,
agree.
it's like a play for the future, kind of like with more people having phones now. You can see older people having phones. Like maybe 5 years ago, you're gonna see someone like someone older than 75 with a flip phone or something like that.
Yeah.
Now they have iPhone 12, 13s now, so they need that.
And Corona has pushed adoption of digital services probably 5-10 years in advance. So like people that wouldn't have traditionally like, I'm not doing that, they might do it now.
Right.
And the fear of COVID is going to be one of those factors. So I think that's
And think about one of the biggest things that people won't go to the doctor for is just because it's a long process. It's not fun
a
going.
hassle.
It's a hassle, and that the telehealth thing eliminates so much of that hassle that there's always going to be a growing consumer base for a service like that.
Yeah, we move more towards convenience every day.
Yeah.
If you could just sit at home and wait for your appointment, plot twist, they call you. And you just do what you want to do until they say, "Hey, we're ready for you," and they call you in the convenience of your own home.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Right.
Short of things that are going to require, but I think as well over the next maybe 10 years, like I think that everyone's going to have some sort of testing kit like on hand. I think it's something like when you subscribe to one of these services that you're going to be given, and it's like, so hey, I think I have strep throat, right? They jam that thing back in your throat. It's terrible. I think they're going to do self-administration of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I
Don't
think
they
it'll
do
happen.
something like that where there's a company that will send you a box
I'm sure
to test stuff? Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the way. And if these digital providers can get on top of that, I mean, and then the thing is too is they'll just pass the cost on to the consumer through the insurance, right? So it doesn't really matter.
And it's the same thing with Shopify too. Shopify is big value they provide is that they're convenient. They're super convenient, and they're super. They give a regular person a easy chance to start their own business.
Yeah, they'll grow with e-commerce. They'll just grow with the general market. They'll continue to grow because they're fixed. They're fixed in the. No one's going to beat them. No one's going to take much from them.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're well positioned. Like all of those e-commerce brands, I think are going to do really well. Either they're going to get bought or they're going to thrive. It's one of the two. But yeah, I think that's good. But I agree with pretty much all of those. Like any digitally scaling business that I guess supports like an online storefront is just going to be probably a smart buy. Just 10 years over the next 10 years. We're looking longevity here.
I think another interesting space for the next 12 months will be like fintech and the companies that are kind of replacing banks or replacing where you can get loans and stuff like SoFi, stuff like Upstart, stuff like Block and Cash App. I think that's going to be an interesting space to see how fast they can grow and how they compete with the banks and what
Do
they
you
can
see
offer.
like a bank like Chaser or whatever like buying one of those companies?
Absolutely.
That's all they're doing. That's all they're
Absolutely.
doing right now. Like a friend of mine, I don't think I can say what bank he works for, but nevertheless, he works for like a rather large bank, right? Where his whole job is scouting acquisition candidates, and they're just buying them left and right. Like so, locally here, right? First Midwest just got acquired.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they just got acquired. You don't really hear nothing about it though.
I didn't know that.
A lot of these banks in this area are just being acquired, like slowly eaten up. Cause it's
By
all
who?
different banks.
By like big banks?
So it's like out here, in my opinion, I think it's like mid-sized banks buying small.
So
But
not like Wells Fargo or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, Wells Fargo has a
look down the
location
line.
in Maryville, though.
Oh, maybe. I mean,
So it's possible.
they're banks that I hadn't really heard of. Like from what I've learned from, like my wife used to work there, and from what she told me, it's just like another mid-size, like a step up. Like there's tier 1 of banks and tier 2 and tier 3. They're like a tier 2 bank buying tier 1.
I see.
So like the whole thing is like this is all a battle for the customer. Like I got offered an exorbitant amount of money for one of my businesses because I have a huge customer base of just retail investors that are going to utilize banking services, investing services, stuff like that. They offered us a ridiculous premium that, like, in my opinion, the business was worth, but I also didn't want to sell it. But because they want the customers. It's far cheaper for them to acquire an entire business than it is to sit there and fight with J.P. Morgan for the customers if they're a smaller bank. And that's what they're doing. Yeah.
Right.
It's amazing. But they're buying like financial publications. That's a big business to be in. Banks are buying those left and right. Credit card providers are buying those left and right. So like,
I think
insane.
the other interesting thing is going to see not only will banks want a piece of those companies, but they're also going to want a piece of the crypto side of things. I think that'll be interesting too to see how are they going to compete. How is Chase going to compete with stuff? The crypto side of things. So are they going to start their own? Are they going to buy one out? Or
Well, I think that kind of goes in hand in hand. Like as the years go by, how's Bitcoin? Not even Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency as a whole. How's that going to measure up with the regular dollar, American dollar, U.S. dollar,
Right.
things like that? So I think
It's
that's
gonna
kind of.
outperform.
I think that's kind of going to go long as we keep on going.
Yeah, but I think that is all for today.
Yeah.
So-
Austin, real quick, you asked us about our 3 stocks or whatever. What's some stocks you've been looking up to
Yeah.
think that's going to go up?
Well, Teladoc, that's always been a big one. That's one of my, it's one of the companies I really, really like. Oh man, this is a tough question. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of which ones.
Do you have an opinion on Palantir?
See, I've been an investor. I like the company overall. It makes sense in every sense of the word. Government contract, everything about it makes sense, but the market isn't reflecting the price. Phenomenal cash balance, ridiculous cash balance. So to me, it makes sense. It's a buy hold, especially if it's 15 sub 15. Yes, right? Because we bought it, at least in my group, right? We bought it like post IPO, maybe $9.90, $10. Went to what, 60? Right?
Oh, right.
It was a good trade.
For a short time.
It's a good
yeah.
trade. So I sold most of it then, and I started buying back around $12, $13 when it dipped back down, and then goes back up and comes back down. I think that's a long-term buy. In the EV space, speculative, but I do like Lucid. I think that they have a good they have a good, like, I look more so at stuff like that, at like what's the community surrounding the brand. Number one, can they afford the product? Because if they can, like, that can sustain a business. But more importantly, like, how much reach do they have? Because, like, with a lot of these brands online, really it's just who can you reach, how many can you reach, and how fervent are they about your brand? I think if you've built the audience, like, I think the whole future of marketing is, can you build an audience? If you can build a community around your brand, you will thrive and succeed.
Yeah.
Like
Very
Wendy's just created a Discord. Why?
Wendy's?
Yeah, Wendy's. But that's smart. They've built their own funnel. They don't.
Yeah.
Why would I pay the newspaper all this money to advertise to you, and I can just get you to come into this free asset that I'm going to hold myself, pay a couple people to moderate it, give some promos, coupons, get some chatting going on. You're going to stay
the problem is why would people want to be there?
I don't know.
That's
a good question, but people do. People who love coupons and deals, like I know some people like that. They'll do anything for a little bit of a discount, a little bit of a coupon. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so if it's like, hey, I got to join this for 15 minutes and check it, they'll deal with the inconvenience for the deals, right?
And plus, we're humans too. We like a sense of belonging. We like to be in like, groups, things like that.
I guess.
So, yeah.
We need a sense of belonging.
Even if it's with other Wendy's customers.
Yeah, but whatever, man. Like, say, I don't know. It's crazy what you can do. Like one thing we built out that I really liked is, like, we built out we have like a military community within our community. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that, but like we had a couple military guys like, hey, would you mind if we kind of open this up? They know each other. They know the struggle. They've all been fought overseas. Like, it's a thing I don't understand because I didn't do it, right? But they understand it, and they've like, kind of built their own like sub community, which is awesome within our community. And a lot of them are either like were wounded and disabled, or they're just like sitting and waiting for a deployment or whatever. So they got a lot of downtime, so they like having that like community to engage with. So you never know.
Yeah.
You never know, man. I don't know, but Yeah, I think Teledoc's a great one. I think I also agree. I like Shopify. Palantir's that one's dicey. I don't know. It's just the market's not reflecting what it should. And other than that, I mean, I don't. I think finance is just good. That like I'll keep buying financial names over the next year or two. Like in a rising interest rate environment, like banks make their money on the spread, right? So like as interest rates rise and they can raise the spread on those loans, they're going to make more money. And I think they're thus a good buy in that sense. So those are the ones I'll be buying. And then like I said, consumer defensive without short-term labor restrictions.
The ones that have pricing power, the ones that can
who can pass the burden down to the consumer, which is terrible, but like
for investing, it's important.
It's important.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah.
But that was a great conversation we had for this episode. But Austin, we want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the Stock Talk. But Nico, you got anything to add before we go?
No, that's it. I'm really happy Austin came on today, and until next time.
Happy birthday.
Until next time, hopefully we have some greener days the next couple of weeks, but we'll see. I mean, the market. Hopefully the market doesn't go down forever.
It shouldn't, right?
Never has.
Yeah. I've been thinking about lately. Can you have a recession with and have the stock market avoid going down?
Well,
if it's already went down,
disjointed from the economy technically.
It's there's like a delay.
Forward-looking tool, yeah. So, but
wouldn't that be like a progression?
I don't know, but I mean, the market's already went down for the last 6 months. So if we have a recession now, what is it going to go down another 30% or something? I don't know if that's realistic.
I don't know.
15-20%.
Huh?
I could see 15-20%.
You think so?
I could see it. I don't think so, but I could see it.
Even though we already had 22%.
Yeah, but how much did it go up?
Hundreds.
That's the thing. We're just injecting fake money into the economy.
Right.
Like
well, that's going to keep a new standard. Then now we have a new standard.
Now that's the question is will it? But I think if you look at like true cost of inflation, like how much is it real up? Like that's why I try to calculate like a real cost basis because if you consider that money is 20% less valuable, right, or whatever your rate is, take that and look at the S&P.
We added like $5 trillion.
So look at the S&P and then calculate that price.
The way,
and you have a real basis.
But here's the thing: when you add that money into the money into the system. Won't it actually add more value to the market? Because I think it's...
Yeah, they did company buybacks. Like those companies did inherently become more valuable because they simultaneously had record profitability, slashed operating budgets, and then also were able to buy back a ton of their stock, right?
Yeah.
So they were able to own more, make more, spend less. So, yeah.
Yep.
Well, yes, this concludes this episode of Stock Talk with Josh and Nico. So y'all have a good one now. Once again, my name is Josh. Joining me today by my co-host, Nico.
Kritikos.
Happy birthday, my big guy.
Thanks.
But once again, y'all have a good one now. Be safe and see y'all later. Bye-bye.